Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box Super Bowl week. Good to have you guys in. Tariq, how's your week gone?
I don't know what I'm going to do after the Super Bowl. I mean, we got a long way to go before spring training.
Well, we got teased with the week before. I was thinking about this. That's just like a hint of what it's like to go without football although we do have the USFL coming back.
We do have that, and there is basketball season. Heck of a run coming down the stretch here, guys. Come on.
Yeah, time to invest in a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey.
Well, yeah, and this would be the legendary Cleveland Cavalier Isaiah Thomas, who I think played like 15 games in Cleveland. But I think me and Isaiah's mom are the only one that have this jersey.
Yeah, it's a great jersey.
Love
Good color scheme.
It's beautiful. It's pretty.
Good team this year in the East.
Let's talk Super Bowl.
All right.
Who do you like?
Let's just say here, we all feel comfortable in saying the Rams. But if the reason why you watch the Super Bowl is Joe Burrow. If he is able to find a way to Joe Cool this, just like the Jets did back in the day, it's going to be amazing. Now, that's a tall task because offensive line didn't get better. They got rest, but they didn't get better. And the weapons for Los Angeles in their dome or in their stadium is going to be tough to task. But it's going to be fun.
I heard that it's better than 50% going to be Bengals fans in terms of they've got a way of computing who's bought the tickets.
Wait a minute, how did they get it? I thought there was this whole thing about making sure that everybody.
I think the people that have control over the Super Bowl tickets are different than the playoff games, which are actually a home game. It's supposed to be better than 50% Bengals fans holding tickets to the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, you guys saw that pep rally that the Rams held, right? There was like 75 people. The Bills get more people showing up after losses at the airport than the Rams got to send them down the street to the Super Bowl.
Do you like the matchup?
I mean, the matchup's going to be fun. I think these two teams, you bring up the offensive line of the Bengals and the defensive line of the Rams, like that's going to be a problem.
Yep.
But look, I mean, the playoffs so far have been phenomenal in the NFL. Joe Burrow has shown that he can step out and make things happen when it looks like nothing else is going to happen. I think the game's going to be great. I am also taking the Rams, not because I see them as a clear favorite, but because I made the mistake of cheering for Tom Brady in his first Super Bowl, and he tortured us for 22 years. So I'm not doing that again with another AFC quarterback. Send it off Matthew Stafford off into the sunset with the Super Bowl.
I think to his point, though, the games have been amazing all the way up to this game, which leads me to a letdown during this game.
Here's why I think you're wrong. Because Matthew Stafford, as great as he's played all season, also has the penchant to make a massive mistake. And I think those massive offensive mistakes that the Rams can make is what keeps the Bengals in this game. I mean, have you seen the Rams play a perfect football game yet in the playoffs? No, I haven't.
Well, you got the best receivers, though. You got Cooper Kupp, you've got, Odell Beckham Jr., you got a great defense, Aaron Donald, and Sean McVay, who's been labeled a genius, maybe before so, in a Super Bowl where he went there with Goff. This time around, he's got a more capable quarterback. It almost seems like it's, ripe to fail. If you look at it.
The Bengals have, I think the Bengals can match the Rams for quality, skill position players. What I see, the analogy I think I see in the Rams, the Tennessee Titans with a better quarterback.
Yeah.
And Tennessee should have found a way to beat Cincinnati early on.
Here's what concerns me. If I'm a Rams fan, I don't want this close because I don't want to deal with that kicker at the end of the game if the Rams have the football.
I mean, when you're short,
but isn't he just like, it just seems like with the Cincinnati kicker now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Rams kicker.
Either one of them.
He went short on a 40-something yarder in the playoffs.
That's what I'm talking about. Either one of them. I don't want to deal with Cincinnati's kicker if they've got the ball.
Mouthy kicker, though. How great is that?
But he's money. I mean, mouthy money is great. It's great to watch.
But to that point, with the confidence that Joe Burrow has been showing, which, by the way, I love, because I love the confidence in any professional athlete. I also love that it's going to eventually crash down in on him. And the mouthy kicker, as you put it, right, a kicker with confidence. Like, if these guys don't find a way to pull it off, like, yes, it's a celebration thing, but all of the talking the last 3 weeks is going to look so bad for the Bengals.
Especially if he misses a 30-yarder at the gun.
Yeah.
With the game on the line. I've got the Rams 31-20.
I've got I'll go with the Rams to win by 7.
Covering 4.5 is the line.
I'm going to go Rams 35, Bengals 33.
Right, one on the Bengals side.
That's a lot of scoring.
That's a better game. We all hope for that.
Yeah.
We're at the Rochester Press Box talking Buffalo Bills next.
I agree. I think McDermott's going to get more of a leash this way, and this. They look more stable than the Chargers. That tells you something, because the Chargers, that's a really, really tough spot.
What are our impressions of McDermott? I mean, you're supposed to love him when he's hired because that's the way everything is spun. What do we think, though, like a week into it? Do you like the hire?
Well, it's funny, like you hear all these guys, like, oh, finally a guy who's going to, be disciplined and hold the players accountable. Here's a little tip for you folks that, think that these guys that make millions of dollars are they're high school kids. They're not. You can't hold millionaire NFL players accountable because if you're going to punish him and then send him on his way, he's going to find somebody else to pay him his money somewhere else.
Well, one guy can. There's one guy in the NFL who can.
Who's that?
Bill Belichick.
Okay.
He has total control.
Okay.
Mike Tomlin probably can too, except his coaching staff.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, these you see these fans that want these coaches to scream in these guys' faces on the sideline because that's what they deserve. You can't do that here. It doesn't work that way. So if this is that guy...
That's not what discipline is in the NFL. It's about playing time. It's about accountability to do your job. And if you don't do your job, you don't play.
And I think he does it from within the room.
I agree
He lets
with
the
you.
room rule.
I would agree, and I think the right kind of player. It's a shame because they do have the right kind of players.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box, our Buffalo Bills segment we do weekly, brought to you by Ralph Honda, for 3 generations and celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and see how we do Honda right at ralphhonda.com. The Buffalo Bills, it was a simple matter of the Bills being one of those elite teams in the AFC that didn't get there this time, and then Joe Burrow gets Cincinnati there. He kind of complicates things as you look at Buffalo's future, doesn't it?
Does he? Does he complicate things?
Don't you think?
Has he had a dominant performance in the postseason yet? I mean, look, the guy's impressive.
But he's there.
Okay, he is there. Look, Jim Everett was there at one point. Boomer Esiason was there at one point. Right? Look, I'm not trying to take anything away from Joe Burrow's talent. Again, I'm enjoying the story of going from nowhere to national championship to Super Bowl in your second season. But you're going to look me in the face and tell me that you're legitimately
As hard as
scared.
that is.
Well, I mean, when you have Josh Allen on your team, there is no other quarterback that should scare you. There isn't. No, I don't.
Not scared, but it's another one in the mix.
Okay.
That maybe we weren't thinking about a month ago.
Okay, but the Ravens were in the mix before the season started. The Ravens were a team that we were supposed to be scared of as Bills fans, that I was before the season started. They fell off. Look, things happen. There's talent on that Bengals team. I'm not worried about it with what the Bills are walking into with next season.
But the Bills' point, we often talk about Allen versus Mahomes, maybe Burrow in this now discussion. There's a new Jackson still around the AFC. It makes for an interesting discussion because Burrow did get further than Allen. No, it doesn't mean he's a better quarterback. It don't get you. But it does put him in the mix because of what he's done in his short career. Remember last year he only played half a season.
Sure. No, look, don't get me wrong. By the way, I do love the fact that all these quarterbacks are now emerging, right? It's the late 80s, early 90s.
And they're all the
over
AFC.
again. But it's great. Look, I think it's great for football. It makes the games amazing. That being said, quarterback wins is not a viable stat for quarterbacks, right? Performance-wise, nobody impresses like Josh Allen does. And look, with the playoff games that the Bengals have won, I don't want to take anything away from them, but they should have lost both of those games. Both of those games should have been losses that they played in. I mean, I'm not worried about it.
It was simpler back in the day, and it's not way far away, but it was Brady versus Manning. And a lot of times it came down to those. It was those two guys, and whoever won that battle. And to your point, I think it was with all the proliferation of good quarterbacks now that are largely playing in the AFC, it's not a simple matter of Mahomes and Allen.
Well, you've
got Jackson, you've got Herbert, you've got Burrow. And
it's funny, and to go back to your point before about the older quarterbacks, I mean, you had Kelly, you had Marino, you had all of these different sort of quarterbacks that were always the sort of key matchup. To Duffy's point, that there is a defense, there is the running game, there are other elements to the game, but the quarterback is who we center on. Who do we talk about first, Stafford or Burrow? Those are the two names that come up before you mention anybody. I mean, literally, Donald could be NFL Hall of Famer before his career is done, and he's barely mentioned.
In the point you just tried to make to kill my point, you inadvertently prove my point.
Of course I did.
Because you bring up Brady and Manning, right? Brady and Manning. There's a guy who won 2 Super Bowls while Brady and Manning was hanging around. That's Ben Roethlisberger. You don't hold him up there in that account, do you? There's another guy who had one of the best off seasons in postseasons in NFL history in Joe Flacco. He won a quarterback, and he won a Super Bowl, and we asked if he was elite for years and years and years. There have been other quarterbacks that performed amazing and made it to Super Bowls, and we don't talk about them like we do Manning and Brady. Why is Burrow not going to be that guy?
You do mean Eli Manning, right?
Okay, there you go. I mean, that's another one, for example, right? Like, that guy's got 2 rings. So there you go. Like, you have historically, unbelievably successful quarterbacks that will be Hall of Famers. Then you did not even mention in the Brady versus Manning discussion.
In Flacco's defense, I mean, was anyone more convincing in terms of proving that he was not an elite quarterback?
No, he did a
Flacco.
did a really good job of going backwards. Really good job.
We are the Rochester Press Box. Our Buffalo Bills segment was brought to you by Ralph Honda, and Like It or Not is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
From travel to radio days to bloopers. Oh, and I have a special guest. You know Steve Hausman. He joins me on my next podcast at thegetawayguy.com.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment is brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Tariq, like it or not, the Pro Bowl.
Well, I liked it more than the Olympics because I was flipping back and forth just to see what was going on. Cross-country skiing and Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl won this time. I also like the rules that they've changed a little bit. They don't tackle anymore. They've made it more fun.
It was a touch football game.
But that's fine. You know what? That's fine. With the way we see now football players getting hurt, that's great. Matter of fact, take the pads off if you want to. Just have more fun with it. It was more of a fun game than it was a football game. Take the football out, let them play, let Mac Jones run into the end zone and do a dance. It was fun.
By the way, was that not the most Patriots thing ever? I'm going to celebrate something I didn't actually accomplish. But go on, I'm sorry.
But I thought some of the side shows of the Pro Bowl really interesting. You know, the holes with the defender and the quarterback. Some of that stuff looked like, had some value.
Before they would play football and they would, okay, let's just do what we can, whatever. I remember Bruce Smith basically saying, we're not going in practice pads during his reign. I thought that was a great story that I heard over the weekend. But just go have fun with it. This is the perfect opportunity to institute stupid rules, see how they go, see if you like them, see if you don't, and then practice and make sure nobody gets hurt.
So Brian Moorman in that game.
Oh,
that was the most lasting memory of the Pro Bowl.
You want to see that again?
Oh my goodness.
I don't.
I can't believe he's still alive.
No kidding, man. No kidding.
Hey, I hesitate to like it or not this, but because I know where it's going. But like it or not, Tom Brady's saying this week, never say never.
Oh, never say never about him coming back and playing in the NFL? Is that what you're asking? Because last week, I seem to remember a really smart, handsome...
This might have been off the air.
No. I think this was on the air. I'm almost positive. Handsome, bearded, smart man saying, you guys really believe that Brady's career is over? You guys really believe it? And you laughed at me. Oh, look at that. Go to the pad. Check it out. Brady said, and I'm paraphrasing the quote. I'm good. I talk like this. My hair's all over the place. I believe his quote, and I'm paraphrasing, was, right now I'm at peace with it. 6 months from now, who knows? I said it before, and I'll say it again. He will take another NFL snap. It's going to happen. He's just looking for a place to land and looking to avoid having to put the pain and suffering in that goes into an NFL
It's
offseason.
40-60 either way because you know full well teams will probably lose a quarterback, a destination. Hey, honey, I'll only be there for about 4 or 5 months. Come on, I like the offensive coordinator.
100%.
It's a possibility that the door is open.
Wow, it's amazing how you guys went from laughing in my face to 40-60 in a matter of 7 days.
I'm still 100%. And it must have been the bodies in the basement that was off the air. I think that was the part that was
on air.
That was not. Now it's on air. Tariq, like it or not, Lovie Smith's beard.
Oh, legendary. It's absolutely. I'm like, last time I saw Lovie Smith, he didn't have it. Then he just like comes out of court. I don't even know where he's been. I think was it Louisville or Louisiana?
Illinois. And he was on that staff.
Nor do I care. Nor did the Texans care until Brian Flores was out, which is funny to me. So he gets a chance to go back to the NFL. Let's just remember, he did go to Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. So let's give Lovie Smith a little chance here. Let's see what they do. They still have a quarterback situation with Deshaun Watson, but I love the beard.
With great beard comes great responsibility. Just saying.
You gonna keep it when it gets gray like that?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm keeping my hair and I'm going bald. Why not keep the beard?
All right, point made. Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
And I'm going to shave.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business, and Pat starts us off.
All I did was ask a question, because I love watching the Olympics, and every Olympic sport I can get my hands on, I will sit and I will enjoy. For example, curling, I've become obsessed with curling. And I find it meditative to sit and watch, and I don't know why. I was watching Italy versus Sweden last week. So while I was watching it and I became interested in it, I had simply tweeted out a question. If I dedicated myself 5 days a week to learning the sport of curling and immersed myself in curling theory and ideas, how long would it take for me to potentially be able to qualify for the U.S. Olympic team? Because let's be real here. I mean, it's an Olympic sport, but those aren't athletes they're watching, right? We're watching here. It's a skill. It's much like a professional golfer, and I look at golf as a lot harder than curling. So all I did was ask a question. Well, the Rochester Curling Club was really cool. They joked, 20 years, why don't you come on down and try it? Awesome. Out of nowhere, my tweet got picked up by like every curling club in America, 50 of them, and I'm not exaggerating, writing me, what do you know? Oh, you think it's easy? Why is it such a shot to your ego for me to simply ask how long it would be for me to take a skill? Do you know that there was a woman that was 4 months pregnant that participated in an Olympic curling event a couple of years ago? I'm not making that up. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying that it wouldn't take dedication. I'm willing to dedicate literally my entire life, 5 days a week, immerse myself in theory to figure out how long it would take. Who knew that the most sensitive sports fans in the world were curling fans?
So for the last couple of weeks, we've heard all this discussion about who should be hired as a head coach. Well, the same discussion should go to who should be the owner of the Denver Broncos. See, they're up for sale now, and a couple of names have started to emerge that I've never really heard of before. One, Robert F. Smith. I have heard of before. $6 billion worth of money could be one of the potential bettors. Also, Byron Allen. You may have seen him before, but not know exactly how much money he has. He's putting together a bid. So are Jeff Bezos, who I know you know who it is, and Jay-Z. Plus, John Elway and Peyton Manning. Now, I don't know who's going to get this bid, but I find it quite interesting that Brian Flores, who is suing the Denver Broncos, and now here comes the potential of the first NFL owner in the NFL. I'm not saying that they should be owners or not. It should go to the biggest bid, which should be around $3 to $4 billion. But it'll be very interesting to see that they are a candidate to buy the team, but let's see if they actually own the team when it's time to put the money down. We'll see NFL if they've learned from this process.
The things we choose to invest in. A baseball card sold last week at auction for $476,000. What's unique about this particular sale is that the card was torn nearly in half. The card in question was a 1909 Honus Wagner tobacco card. These were the original baseball cards, so the player's likeness was printed on a tobacco package. Over the course of a 3-year print run, more than 500 different cards were produced and distributed. Now, they are still widely available and reasonably priced. Not so much for the 76 eventual Hall of Fame cards, and definitely not Honus Wagner, who was considered among the best turn-of-the-century players. Shortstop for 21 years, mostly for the Pittsburgh Pirates, some still regard Wagner as the best at that position of all time, although no one alive has seen him play. He was one of the 5 charter members of the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936, 27 years after the card in question was issued. As far as that goes, Wagner ordered production of his baseball cards stopped due to what legend suggests was his opposition to tobacco products. It could also be that he simply wasn't paid enough. Either way, only 200 or so were ever distributed, and only 57 have survived, including the just over half of a torn card that last week sold for $500,000. Kind of makes me wonder if that Bill Pucko card that I used to use in the spokes of my bicycle is worth anything.
Hey, I got an old Ken Griffey Jr. card. What is that still worth? It was a rookie.
Yeah, and they made 500 million of those, so it's worth nothing.
Thank you, guys. Good show. Enjoyed the Super Bowl.
Looking forward to the game. We'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, when Tom Brady signs up to play again next season, and I'm going to laugh in both your faces.
Yeah, we'll bring the subject back up again. Give you the opportunity. Hey, thanks for joining us. See you next week with the Rochester Press Box.